Call me Commander Apastra. I've spent most of my life looking up at the sky, wondering what it would feel like to leave it all behind. The weight, the noise, the pull of everything familiar. And then one day, I did.
From up here, the world is quiet. No wind, no bird song, just the hum of the station and the slow turning of the earth below. It's the kind of silence that makes you listen harder, not with your ears, but with something deeper. I remember the day they told me I'd been selected. I was standing in a hallway that smelled like coffee and old carpet, and a woman I barely knew shook my hand and said, "You're going up." 3 words. They changed everything. The training was relentless. Months of simulations, centrifuge runs, underwater spacewalks in suits that weighed more than I did. They prepare you for every scenario they can imagine. And then they remind you that space doesn't care what you've prepared for. Launch day arrived on a cold March morning. The air was sharp, the sky a pale gray. I walked to the pad with my crew, our boots echoing on the gantry. I remember thinking the rocket looked impossibly tall, like a cathedral built to reach God. Then the engines lit. The sound wasn't something you heard, it was something that moved through you, through your bones, through your chest. The ground fell away, and for a few violent minutes, the earth shook us loose like it was finally letting go. And then, stillness. The roar stopped. My arms floated up on their own, and I realized I was weightless. I unstrapped and drifted to the window, and there it was. The Earth, wrapped in blue and white, turning slowly, impossibly beautiful. I pressed my glove to the glass and couldn't speak. You think you know what the Earth looks like. You've seen the photographs. But nothing prepares you for seeing it with your own eyes. The thin, bright line of the atmosphere, the shadows of clouds on the ocean, entire continents sliding past in silence. It doesn't feel real. And yet, it's the most real thing I've ever seen. The days settled into a rhythm. We ran experiments on crystal growth, fluid dynamics, how plants behave without gravity. Small questions with enormous implications. I'd spend hours adjusting instruments, recording data, watching seedlings reach toward a light that wasn't the sun. And then there were the spacewalks. You step outside the airlock, and there's nothing between you and the universe. No ceiling, no floor. Just your suit, your tether, and a darkness so vast it swallows every sound you've ever known. You work with your hands and try not to think about how small you are. It was March when we launched, and it was March when I first noticed the change below. The northern hemisphere was waking up, snow retreating from the mountains, green creeping across the plains. Spring was arriving, slow and patient, the way it always does. Up here, there are no seasons, no March, no autumn, just the endless orbit. Sunrise every 90 minutes. But I thought about March a lot. Down there, people were opening windows, planting gardens, feeling the air grow warm again. March is a month of beginning, of things pushing through the soil toward light. And I realized that's what we were doing too, in our own way, pushing outward, reaching for something we couldn't quite name. People ask me what I brought back from space. Not samples or data, they mean something else. And I tell them, perspective. The understanding that this world, this thin shell of air and water and life, is all we have. It is fragile, it is extraordinary, and it is worth every effort to protect. My name is Commander Apastra, and I'm still looking up.